Hey guys! I'm gonna show you how to make potato soup. This is not my normal recipe. This is, but this will work. So let me show you the ingredients. So like I said, we're gonna be making potato soup. So obviously potatoes. I'm gonna use the golden potatoes because I don't like the way russets taste. You can use literally any kind of potato. I wouldn't say sweet potato unless you want to try sweet potato soup. I don't know. I've never had that. I'm going to add this onion. Normally I use chicken broth, but we have a little bit of beef broth to use up before it goes bad, so I'm going to be using that. I use that when I'm boiling the potatoes, so the potatoes add a little bit of flavor. We're going to need some milk. And normally I add cream, but we don't have any and I'm not going to the store, so I'm going to add a little bit of cream cheese, and then the seasonings that I use, garlic and herb seasoning blend from Dash. I'm gonna add some pepper, a little bit of onion powder, just a little bit, because we are using that fresh onion, and just a tad bit of salt because it is actually going to be quite salty from the potatoes cooking in that broth. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our pot on the stove so it can start boiling. So we're gonna add in all of this beef broth, and then we're gonna add the rest of the way up with water. So I'm not really measuring, but you can see on the side of my pot here there's a little measuring line. Move it in a little bit closer. I'm only gonna fill it like to this line right here. That way it has boiling room. So now I got the water in there and the pot on the stove. So you're gonna put it on like a medium high heat to the pot. I'm not measuring. This is seasoned by your heart. Whatever amount of seasoning looks good to you, put that in the pot. Now this is just the potatoes. This isn't like, we're gonna add some at the end once we're like adding our milk and stuff, so the milk gets seasoned as well. We're not gonna like get rid of all of the water. I'll show you later. Just a little bit of salt. That's gonna start boiling, and while we're boiling, we're gonna get our onion and potato chopped. We have a naked onion. Gonna show you how to chop these. You want to keep the root in on here. It's gonna make it 10 times easier. And then you just cut through the root all the way down. Set that side to the side. And then you're gonna, once again, we're leaving the root on. We want to be able to dice it, so we're going to make little strips like this all the way across. And then once that's done, we're going to cut the other direction. Hold on, let me show you. Make sure that once you've cut it in half through the root, you're not cutting your slices through the root. You need the root intact. That way, so when you turn it this way, now you can chop, and now you have your little dices, and it's not harder to cut. Do that to both sides, unless you're not really into onions, but you just want a little bit of onion, then only use half now and then save the rest for later. But I'm gonna use this whole onion. All right, we're back at the stove because we're gonna saute those onions so that they're soft. Okay? And then, so this, you're gonna need a skillet. Don't mind that mine's really round. I'm gonna use my wok because all my other skillets are dirty. Okay, I'm a little bit of a mess. The skillet, you're gonna want Again, medium-high heat, but nothing more than medium-high. Boil water, I was trying to say we want medium-high, closer to high than medium. That's still cooking, that's not ready. I turned the wrong burner on. Make sure you're turning the correct burners on. We're gonna let this cook, heat up just a little bit so that the oil can get in there. Okay, that's hot enough to start cooking our onions in now. So we're gonna add just a little bit of oil, just enough to kind of swirl it around and make sure those onions are getting cooked, but like your pan's coated, you know? Don't worry about my sides. I don't need the sides covered. We're just needing the bottom. Take a spatula, scrape those into the pan. Now those are gonna start doing their thing, getting all fragrant while we chop those potatoes. All right, you might notice this is the same cutting board as the onions. Nothing, no raw meat has touched this cutting board for this cooking. So it is 100% okay to use the same cutting board for all your vegetables. So I have about a 5-pound bag of potatoes. I'm gonna use about half for me and my husband because we like potato soup and we like leftovers. If you don't like leftovers, use less. If you like leftovers but you have more people food, use more. This is just my recipe and what works for me, but definitely make it work for you. So you're just gonna dice your potatoes. We're going in half. We're scooting that half to the side, we're flipping it. We're going in half again. And then we're going in fours. It doesn't matter, they're gonna cook. You want them small enough that they cook fast enough, but not so small enough that they just turn to mush. Unless you want mashed potato, like really mashed fine potatoes. I like it a little bit chunky. No, I'm not peeling them. I like it with the skins in there. So does my husband. If you don't like the skins, you can peel them. That's your preference. While you're cutting your potato, don't forget you got an onion cooking. We don't want burnt crisp. We're not making crispy onions. So stir that on occasion. You didn't see me do that, but I did off camera. But you might have been looking at my potatoes and been like, Minch, those bitches are dirty. Yes, they were. But now I'm gonna clean them. I'm gonna take some hot water, just water. Don't be adding soap. You're gonna fuck your potatoes. Go ahead, give them a bath. I gotta turn on both taps because my hot water be getting hot. Move them around, get up in there. You know, get them clean. Get the dirt off. All right, now you see this water is boiling, but go ahead and put those potatoes in. Be careful. Don't go like this. Go away from yourself, that way it's splashing away. Like this. But go ahead and put all of your potatoes in your water. Just like that. Okay? And then, you can't see it, but my onions are still on my stove, cooking up, and they are ready to also go in. Let me set my angle so I can show you what they look like. So, I don't know how much really you can tell, but they're starting to get translucent. They're gonna start giving flavor. We can start adding that to our soup. Okay, once again, that water's hot. We don't want any splashbacks. It's stopped boiling, but it's still pretty hot. Try to add it away from yourself as much as possible. Just like so. This has got to cook till those potatoes can be poked with a fork. So depending on how much of a batch you're making, changes the time. I'm gonna say about 30 minutes to 45 minutes if you're making a bigger batch. If you're making a smaller batch, it's probably gonna be closer to 20 minutes. But when you can stick a fork into those potatoes, they're done. So that's gonna cook. I'm gonna set a timer and I'll meet you back to finish this when they're done. All right, our potatoes are done. I touched them with a fork off camera. And now I'm gonna drain them. Gonna drain about half the liquid. You don't wanna get rid of all because remember, we used that broth. So we wanna just get rid of some of it and we're gonna be back. All right, now I'm gonna add some milk. That actually wasn't enough, so I gotta get more from the fridge. All right, I added the rest of the milk. You want enough milk to cover your potatoes. Now we gotta add the cream cheese. Remember, normally I use cream. You can use cream. You just want a little bit, like half a cup, just to kind of thicken it up if you like thicker soups. All right, you can kind of see the chunks right there. They'll melt down. I'm gonna take my masher and I'm gonna mash them up, but not too much because I like it chunky. And now we're gonna add in the rest of our seasonings. We're gonna start with the pepper. You don't wanna add too much, because if you add too much, it's gonna make it spicy. But you don't want your soup to be bland, unless you like bland foods. I don't. And we're gonna add just a little bit of garlic, or not garlic, this is onion. Just a little bit of onion. Remember, I added a whole onion in here, so we don't need too much, but just to help bring those flavors into that milk and stuff. And I'm also gonna add a little bit more of this garlic and herb. And just the teensiest bit of salt because we added salt earlier, plus we got the beef broth, so we don't need too much. And that's all for the seasonings. Give it a little stir. It's gotta cook for another like 15-20 minutes. Get that cream cheese melted in there. Get it all nice and good. I'm probably gonna end up also putting some cornstarch water in here just so that it thickens up because I like a good creamy soup. But yeah, I'll be back when it's done. All right, this soup is ready to go. And I'm gonna serve it up for myself because my husband's not here right now, but it'll be ready when he gets home. Well, I'm gonna add my cheese and I'm gonna go eat because it's almost time for my stream. And if you didn't know that, now you do. Check me out, Twitch TV, Minchbear.